Govindaya Namo Namaha. This is 2.9.31. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Jnanam Paramaguhyam Me Yad Vijnana Samanvitam Sarahasyam Tadangam Cha Grihana Gaditam Maya. The personality of Godhead said to Brahma, knowledge about me as described in the scriptures is very confidential and it has to be realized in conjunction with devotional service. The necessary paraphernalia for that process is being explained by me. You may take it up carefully. Jnanam Paramaguhyam Me. The knowledge about me is very confidential. Yad Vijnana Samanvitam. And it has to be realized how? By practical application of that knowledge, which is devotional service. Vijnana Samanvitam. Yad Vijnana Samanvitam Sarahasyam. He is saying it has to be realized with Saharahasyam, which is the devotional service, he says. Tadangamcha. Grihana Gaditam Maya. Take it up as I have explained to you. So we are reading from this chapter answers citing the Lord's version. Second canto, 9th chapter. So we'll go back to the previous verses from the beginning of the chapter, which will give us a good background. You see, Shukadeva Goswami is beginning this chapter saying, O King, unless one is influenced by the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no meaning to the relationship of the pure soul in pure consciousness with the material body. That relationship is just like a dreamer's seeing his own body working. Which means, actually he's beginning from here, gradually the subject will come. See here Prabhupada is saying in the purport here. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is present, Lord says that He is present in the heart of every living entity. And the living entity's consciousness and forgetfulness are influenced by the Lord. Which is that verse? Matta smritir jnanam aponamcha. Lord gives knowledge, Lord gives forgetfulness. Now the next question automatically made will be, why the Lord influences the living entity to such consciousness and forgetfulness? The answer is that the Lord clearly wishes that every living entity be in His pure consciousness as a part and parcel of the Lord, and thus be engaged in loving devotion service as is constitutionally made. But because the living entity is partially independent also, he may not be willing to serve the Lord, but he may try to become independent. All the non-devotee living entities are desirous of becoming equally as powerful as the Lord, although they are not fit to become so. So the living entities are illusioned by the will of the Lord because they wanted to become like Him. Like a person who thinks of becoming a king without possessing the necessary qualification. Like Duryodhana, he had no qualification to become king of the world, but he wanted to be king. And not only that, another desire he had was to destroy the Pandavas and wipe out the Pandavas from the surface of the globe and become the king of the whole world. Similarly, every living entity wants to become king or God without possessing any qualification, he is saying. Like a person who thinks of becoming a king without possessing the necessary qualification, when the living entity desires to become the Lord Himself, he is put in a condition of dreaming that he is a king. Therefore, the first sinful will of the living entity is to become the Lord. And the consequent will of the Lord is that the living entity forget his factual life and thus dream of the land of utopia where he may become one like the Lord. The child cries to have the moon from the mother, and the mother gives child a mirror to satisfy the crying and disturbing child with the reflection of the moon. Similarly, the crying child of the Lord is given over to the reflection, material world, to lord it over as karmi, and to give this up in frustration to become one with the Lord. Both these stages are dreaming illusions only. So one is bhukti, another one is mukti. Both are called pishachi. Both are called ghost. Why? In this world, all the karmis are trying to become God, and in the course of trying to become God, they become frustrated. And then what they try to do when they become frustrated? They try for what? To become one with God. What is that called as? Mukti. That is mukti. And they go to Brahman, and then they again fall back for bhukti. So bhukti, mukti, bhukti, mukti. They keep going back and forth like this. And the actual platform is bhakti, where one understands that I am servant of Krishna. Like that he says. But sometimes people do bhakti for also bhukti. Bhakti for bhukti is actually superficial religiosity. That is not considered bhakti at all. A bhakta is above bhukti and mukti, these two pishachis. There is one beautiful verse. Na ekatmata, it comes. Na ekatmata me sprikhayanti kechin mat pada seva viratam adiha yenyonyato bhagavata prasajya sabhajiyante mama paurushani. Kapila says this. Na ekatmata me. My devotees never try to become one with me. They always want to be my servant. And so he says, Na ekatmata me sprikhayanti kechin mat pada seva abhirata. They always like to be engaged in the service of my lotus feet. So they don't try to become one with God, nor do they try to become competitive with God. In this world, living entities are competitors against Krishna, and they are trying to become the king. Now all of you understand this particular point, why Krishna puts living entity in forgetfulness. Who can answer? Why Krishna puts a living entity in forgetfulness? Yes.
Because living entity wants to Krishna. So
living entity wants to be God. Okay.
Or enjoy.
Yeah.
Then Lord has to be forgetfulness because they can't enjoy.
Yeah, living entity can never be God. He is only part and parcel. But how can Lord give him the feeling that you are God? By helping him to forget the fact. Then he can. That's like people drink liquor to forget the exam results, isn't it? So why they drink? Because they can forget it. Like that, Lord gives him the intoxication called forgetfulness, so he can imagine that he is the boss. Actually, the imagination that I am a great boss, I am very smart, and also the idea that people are all respecting me for this, both are actually tricks of the mind only. Mind imagines a lot about oneself to be very great and everything. So in this way, the forgetfulness is given by Krishna for the living entity. Okay, imagine that you are the God. Go ahead, he says. And then he talks about I and mine and everything. He talks about the living entity situation. But as soon as the living entity becomes situated in his constitutional glory and begins to enjoy the transcendence beyond time and material energy, he at once gives up the two misconceptions of I and mine, and thus becomes fully manifested as the pure self. Which means, if you really want to enjoy spiritual bliss, you need to go beyond two things. What are the two things? No, not I and mine. In the translation, which I read just now, he says you have to go beyond two things. If you really have to delight in spiritual bliss, what are the two things said here? I and mine is said towards the end of this translation, before. It says you have to go beyond time and material energy. That means, for example, when we are completely absorbed in material consciousness, it is called abhinivesh. There are 5 things avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesh. 5 kinds of ignorance. The first ignorance is avidya. What is avidya? To consider this asat to be sat. Considering material body is everything. You look in the mirror and think, oh, how beautiful I look. See my hairstyle, see my pigment of my skin, how beautiful, fair it is and everything. So to think of oneself to be this material body is the first ignorance called avidya. And considering impure to be pure, like the man-woman relationship is impure, bodily connection, to consider that to be very glorious. To consider that television is the source of all bliss. To think like that, that is avidya. So avidya means considering something useless to be fruitful, and something fruitful to be useless, something pure to be impure, impure to be pure, something temporary to be permanent, permanent to be temporary. That is avidya. And that avidya leads to what? Asmita. Asmita means false ego. The ahankar. People think, I am an engineer, I am a doctor, I am a chartered accountant. Like company gives a card. My name is there and below that, executive. Executive, twist your mustache. People feel very proud, isn't it? Some living entity calls you executive, so you also become very proud. They are given your title. I am a, what do you call it? GET, they say, Graduate Engineering Training. After that you are a project lead. You are a works manager. You are a shop superintendent. Or a managing director. And that card intoxicates us with our degree and title. So, in this way, that is false ego. When I identify with the material body, along with that comes what? False ego. Yeah. So, avidya leads to abhinivesh. And then, along with that comes raga, dvesha, attachments and aversions. All kinds of things. I like this fellow, I don't like this fellow is my friend, that fellow is my enemy, I'll finish this fellow, I will make allies with that fellow. Then comes abhinivesh. Abhinivesh means what? Abhinivesh means complete absorption in matter. Sometimes people become like psychic case. They're talking to themselves only sometimes. They go mad practically when they get into the worldly activities. Like, he's asking Shankaracharya in one prayer, Kaye kanta kaste putra samsaroyam ativa vichitra kasyatvam kaha kuta ayat astitvam chintaya tadiha brataha. He's telling, Kaye kanta, who is this living entity next to you whom you are calling as your wife? That is also a living entity like you who has come to this world to enjoy, separate from Krishna. And that living entity is put into body of a female body. And you are put into a male body. And the two living entities are trying to enjoy, but how do you enjoy? Both are Prakriti. How can Prakriti enjoy Prakriti? It's like, imagine the hand says, I have a laddu and you don't have laddu, I'll give you, come let's both enjoy. It's giving, I'll give laddu, you give Mysore pak, let's enjoy. Can they enjoy? Energy cannot enjoy. Energy can be enjoyed by energetic, who is Krishna. We are Prakriti. Prakriti and Prakriti cannot enjoy. Prakriti can be enjoyed by whom? Purusha. You see? Now, a man and woman come together. Come, let's enjoy rubbing each other's body. What will you enjoy? Prakriti can never enjoy. It is simply, in dream you can imagine we are enjoying. Like when you are drunkard, one can imagine that he is enjoying. Similarly, in ignorance, living entity thinks I will enjoy. That's why this abhinivesha is a very painful situation. Energy cannot enjoy energy. Energy has to be enjoyed by energetic. And who is the only energetic? Krishna. Yeah. Krishna, Vishnu, Ram. So energetic can enjoy the energy. Which means we can become enjoyed by Krishna. When we cooperate with Krishna, when we serve Krishna, when we love Krishna, when we please Krishna, then he enjoys. And when you cooperate with him, then we also enjoy by that cooperation. Just like, for example, if a wife is serving the husband nicely, she has cleaned the house and washed his clothes and prepared a tiffin for him, and he is smiling and happy, then she also gets happiness. So otherwise the living entity cannot enjoy separately on his own. So in this way, abhinivesh is a very painful situation, absorption in matter. Absorption, to the degree I identify with matter, then I am absorbed in material energy, then I'm subjected to time also, which makes it even more painful. Isn't it? You have seen people, the time brings people together, separates them. Like you see, somebody is boarding a train and going, parents are crying, woo, saying Tata and all, you have seen? Sometimes I saw one lady boarding the train, telling Tata to mother and sobbing in a kerchief, because time separates people. They have to go to study somewhere, they have to work abroad somewhere. Relatives are brought together, separated by time. And at the time of death, they are permanently separated by the separating sword of time. So, as long as we are in the clutches of these two things, material energy and time, a living entity suffers in this dream. Material world is a dream for the living entity, you see. Because real situation is spiritual world. One day, a man, he was very thirsty, but somehow his body was very tired also. So he went and lied in his bed. So his mind told him, why don't you take the bottle of water and drink? Then he thought, right now I am very tired. No, I have to go there and pick up the water and drink. Let me just lie down. If I am very thirsty in the midnight, I can always get up and drink, he thought. So at 12 o'clock at night, he was very thirsty. Very thirsty. Throat is burning practically. And he wants the water. And he's asking for water, and somebody is coming and giving him a bottle of water. The dream only. And he took the bottle and gada water is putting. So much water is putting, is overflowing over the mouth also. Still the thirst is not quenched. Why? Yeah, why? He was drinking where? In the dream. In the dream, when you are drinking water, will you be satisfied? I was wondering, I am drinking so much, why I am not satisfied? That is why in the material world, the living entity, he gets a lot of things for enjoying, but none of them give him enjoyment. Why? Why? Like he has dollar notes, he has BlackBerry mobile, isn't it? He has television, he has everything. He's flying here and there, going from place to place to enjoy. But Prabhupada says, when you're flying on a plane above the Atlantic or something, when you look out, you're afraid because water everywhere. Anytime the plane can fall and crash. The arrangements made by the living entity for happiness can never satisfy him, because they are not Krishna given. Krishna given plan will make the living entity happy, but man-made plans for his happiness will never make him happy. He can never be happy. It will only increase his danger and fear, problems. You see? So this man, when he got up in the morning, still his throat was burning, because he never drank the actual water. Then when he took the actual bottle of water and drank it, then he was quenched. Similarly, what can satisfy the living being is spiritual happiness. Material happiness, material world is a dream. That is why we have to rise above these two things. We have to rise above time and material energy. When we rise above, then we become free from I and mine. Ahankar, we become free from ahankar, thinking I am this body made of flesh and bones. That's why Shankara is asking, Kaya Kanta, who are you saying is your wife? Hey, this is another living entity. You are Prakriti and that is also Prakriti. You cannot enjoy that wife. Kaste Putra, and you got some, 3-4 kids claiming them to be your children. They are not your children. They are Krishna's servants. Like you take a pen and paper and you put your signature. Does the signature belong to pen or the paper? Yeah? None of them. Then it belongs to whom? The person who is putting. Similarly, the father is putting, semen in the womb of the mother, which is like putting pen in the paper, isn't it? So, does the signature belong to the father, or the child belongs to father or mother? It belongs to whom? Belongs to Krishna, because Krishna is using the father to give the seed into the womb of the mother. Aham bija pradaya pita. So all living entities belong to whom? Krishna. They don't belong to mother and father. Mother and father happen to be ordinary living entities who, like one living entity is put in one body. You are mother, you are father, you are son, you are daughter, you are puppy dog. All of you in one house. That who has put like that? Krishna. So he is the Supreme Father, you see. That's why he is asking, Kaya Ekanta, Kaste Putra, Samsaroyam Ativa Vichitra. He is saying, this material world is a Vichitra place, strange place where living entities foolishly imagine themselves to be man, woman, and different things. Kasyatvam, whose are you? He is asking. Kasyatvam means What is the answer to this question? Whose are you? I am Krishna's. I am Krishna's property. Huh? Kaha, kuta ayat. From where have you come here? He's asking. What is the answer? From spiritual world. I belong to spiritual world. And I have come here. Huh? The material world for rotting, for suffering in this world. That's the answer. He's saying, Chinta means, think about all these things. Brataha, oh brother, think about these things, wake up. Don't be sleeping, don't be in this dream of material world subjected to time, because this material world will give you enormous suffering because of being a dreamy situation. Any of you experience of a tiger chasing you in dream? Dog chasing you? Anybody? Very frightening, isn't it? Isn't it? And you even sweat practically. When you get up in the morning, thank God there is no tiger. Similar, material world is like a dreamy situation, frightening situation. And then he's saying, when we rise above it, then only we can be happy. Yeah. Actually, all this is giving us a background. Shukadeva Goswami. Now he's going to come to the real subject. Our today's topic is actually 4 fruits of penance. What are the 4 benefits you get by tapasya? That's the topic. Now he's saying, O king, the personality of Godhead being very much pleased with Lord Brahma because of his non-deceptive penance in Bhakti Yoga, presented his eternal and transcendental form before Brahma, and that is the objective goal for purifying the conditioned soul. Lord Brahma, the first spiritual master, supreme in the universe, could not trace out the source of his lotus seat on which he was sitting, Brahma. And while thinking of creating the material world, he could not understand the proper direction for such creative work, nor could he find out the process for such creation. Which means Brahma did not know what is this lotus seat on which I am sitting now, what is this material world, and where have I come from, and how do I create. None of these things he knew. Here Prabhupada is saying the purport. Even the first spiritual master of the universe was enlightened by the grace of the Lord. So who else can attain perfect knowledge of everything without the mercy of the Lord? If anyone desires to seek perfect knowledge of everything, he must seek the mercy of the Lord. And there is no other means. To seek knowledge on the strength of one's personal attempt is a sheer waste of time. If a small worm is sitting in a leaf of a huge banyan tree, can it find the root of the tree? If it is sitting here, it may move like this, and at the end of the branch it may think this is the source, isn't it? Or then it may end up in another branch. From here it may go here. It will not know how to go to the root, isn't it? Similarly, we are conditioned souls in this world. We cannot find out the root of all existence on our own, by our own endeavor. He's saying that's why even the first created living being, Brahma, is born in ignorance. He doesn't know what is this lotus seat. And he came out of the lotus, went in the stem. He gradually went down, up to the bottom. And he is standing right on the navel of the Lord. And he is seeing, and still he cannot see the Lord. Can you imagine? He cannot see the face of Vishnu, lotus feet of Vishnu, nothing. It's all pitch darkness everywhere. Then Brahma thought, what can I do now? Again he climbed up and came back and sat in his own seat. And he didn't know now. He couldn't ascertain any truth. And the same is true for Durga Devi also. Durga also, the personification of material energy, she doesn't know much about the world. She's always asking, inquiring from Lord Shiva, sitting next to him. She asks questions and Shiva gives answers. You'll always see that. Which means even she is actually the controller of 3 modes. And she is taking part in Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, all of them. Still she is ignorant of the Supreme Lord, you see. Which means if Durga and Brahma need guidance, what about us? Tiny living entities, can use our telescopes to find out where is Lord Vishnu? Where is the Shvetadipa, where he is lying in the ocean of milk? Can we find out with our telescopes? Like that he is saying. While thus engaged in thinking in the water, Brahma heard twice from nearby 2 syllables joined together. One of the syllables was taken from the 16th and the other from 21st of the Sparsha alphabets, and both joined to become the wealth of the renounced order of life called Tapa. Tapa. Yeah. And the Prabhupada is saying here in the Prabhupada, according to Bhagavad philosophy, every human being is meant simply for this Tapa and for no other business, because by penance only can one realize his self, and self-realization, not sense gratification, is the business of human life. What is the business in animal life? Yeah. What is the business in human life? This tapa or penance was begun from the very beginning of the creation, and it was first adopted by the Supreme Spiritual Master Lord Brahma. By tapasya only can one get the profit of human life, and not by a polished civilization of animal life. Animal does not know anything except sense gratification, in the jurisdiction of eat, drink, be merry and enjoy. When Lord Brahma was perplexed about how to construct the material manifestation in the universe, and went down within the water to find out the means and the source of his lotus seat, he heard the word tapa vibrated twice. Tapa, tapa, like that he heard 2 times. Taking the path of tapa is the second birth of the desiring disciple. The word upashtanot is very significant. It is similar to upanayana, he is saying. Bringing the disciple nearer to the spiritual master for the path of tapa. That's the meaning of upanayana. Upanayana means bringing the disciple close to the lotus feet of Guru, and Guru will teach him tapasya, and the disciple will follow the path of tapasya. That is upanayana. Not just wearing a sacred thread, having a function. So Brahmaji was thus initiated by Lord Krishna, and this fact is corroborated by Brahmaji himself in his book Brahma Samhita. Yeah. And then he's talking about parampara. So, what did Brahma do? What kind of tapasya Brahma did? People ask this question. Did he just close his eyes and just sit down and what exactly he did? Actually, Brahma Samhita explains that Lord Krishna, through his flute, he gave Brahma the Kama Gayatri mantra. And the Kama Gayatri mantra is a mantra which will awaken the pure spiritual love. Actually, the word Kama has 2 meanings. One is love, another one is lust. Kama, Prema, Dohankara, Vibhinna, Vilakshan. Why sometimes love is also called Kama? In order for us to understand the intensity of love. Just as in this world, lust is very strong. What is the sound? Just as in this world, lust is very strong. Lust and love are very powerful, but they are in opposite directions. Lust is meant for gratifying one's own senses, and love is meant for satisfying Krishna. You see? Atmendriya priti vancha tare balikam, Krishnendriya priti icha dhare premanam. Correct? Krishnendriya priti icha dhare premanam. That is prem. But that is also called sometimes kam. That's why it's called Kama Gayatri. Actually connects us to Krishna. It awakens our intense love for Krishna by chanting that. So Brahmaji was given the Kama Gayatri to recite, and by reciting it and meditating on the Lord's form, gradually Brahma comes to realize it fully. But if one cannot realize the form, what should one do? Just meditate on the sound vibration, like we do Mahamantra. We have not come to a point of asakti where we see Krishna's form, Krishna's abode, Krishna's activities. So what to do? Just chant the Mahamantra and hear the sound vibration attentively. So Brahma also did that. When he heard the sound, he tried to find the speaker, searching on all sides. But when he was unable to find anyone besides himself, he thought it wise to sit down on his lotus seat firmly and give his attention to the execution of penance as he was instructed. You see, when he heard tapa sound, he wanted to know who made that sound. See, for all of us, we have so many people in the room now. if some tapa sound comes, one of the fellows sitting here must have said it, isn't it? Whereas when Brahma was born, and besides him, Brahma did not see anyone else. You see? He was the only one, first created living being. Then who else could have spoken? Tapa. So he tried his best to find out, he couldn't find. Then he thought better obey the instruction which came. And then he sat and meditation and did tapasya. Here comes a very important point here.
If he had first time tapa, then how he can this is tapa?
Now I'm going to say about that, exactly. You see, when Prahlad was sitting in the womb of his mother, did he see his Guru, Narada Muni? Was there a window from the womb to see? No. Who is my Guru? How he looks like? Is he fair or black? Is he tall or short? Did he see his Guru? No. He only heard the sound vibration about the Bhagavad Dharma. Simply by hearing, Prahlad became a Maha-Bhagavad devotee. He has not even seen his Guru once before coming out of the womb. He became a pure devotee in the womb only. Only by hearing. Rukmini never saw Krishna. Rukmini just heard about Krishna from Narada Muni in the court. Narada would come and glorify Krishna about his opulences, about his activities and leelas. She developed a very firm attachment. To a degree by which she realized that no, I'm going to marry only Krishna, no one else. That much determination she developed. And Prabhupada says, if Rukmini can develop such staunch determination by hearing, and if our Narada boy also heard and developed staunch determination to attain Krishna, similarly Prahlad, at least Narada boy saw his gurus, but Prahlad didn't see Guru. Prahlad didn't see Narada also. Correct, no? Yeah. By hearing they developed awakening. Same with Brahma also. He is not seeing Vishnu. But Brahma is simply hearing tapa 2 times. But Lord gave him the knowledge of how to do tapasya. When he told the word tapa, the word along with its meaning was revealed to Brahma. So that's why I told you, he sat and he chanted the Gayatri Mantra in full absorption, without any distraction or diversion. Then Prabhupada is saying here, to achieve success in life, one should follow the example of Lord Brahma, the first living creature in the beginning of creation. After being initiated by Supreme Lord to execute tapasya, he was fixed in his determination to do it. Although he could not find anyone besides himself, he could rightly understand that the sound was transmitted by the Lord himself. Brahma was the only living being at that time. And then he's saying, the Lord within every living entity has a super soul. And he initiated Brahma, because Brahma was willing to receive the initiation. Lord can similarly initiate everyone who is inclined to have it. As already stated, Brahma is the original Guru for the universe, and since he was initiated by the Lord himself, the message of Bhagavatam is coming down in Parampara, disciplic succession. And in order to receive the real message of Bhagavatam, one should approach the current link or spiritual master in the chain of disciplic succession. You see, this is against Ritvik philosophy. Because Prabhupada doesn't say if one wants to take initiation, he can take from Super Soul directly. He doesn't say. Nor does Prabhupada say if one wants to get the real message of Bhagavatam, especially in this age of Kali Yuga, they have to take only from me, who is the founder acharya of ISKCON. He doesn't say. What he says? One should approach the current link or spiritual master in the chain of disciplic succession. You see? And current link is our spiritual master, living Guru. That's why the word current link uses. After being initiated by the proper spiritual master in that chain of succession, one should engage himself in the discharge of tapasya, in executing devotional service. One should not, however, think himself on the level of Brahma to be initiated directly by the Lord from inside, because in the present age no one can be accepted as to be as pure as Brahma. Either he says. Very clear. And then he's saying, now what happened to Brahma after that when he was doing tapasya? Lord Brahma underwent penances for 1,000 years by the calculations of demigods. He heard this transcendental vibration from the sky and he accepted it as divine. Thus he controlled his mind and senses, and the penances he executed were a great lesson for the living entities. Thus he is known as the greatest of all ascetics. You see? Can you imagine 1,000 years sitting and doing chanting continuously? And Prabhupada is giving a calculation in the purport. He's saying 1 celestial year equal to 6 into 30 into 12 into 1,000 of our years. Like that 1,000 years. It comes to how much? 12,000 into 30, that is probably 3,60,000 into 6. Something like 18 lakh years, a very, very long period actually. And then his acceptance of the sound was due to his pure vision of the absolute nature of the Lord. And due to his correct vision, he made no distinction between Lord and Lord's instruction. There is no difference between Lord and the sound vibration coming from him, even though he is not personally present. You see, Brahma did not see the form of Krishna, but still he is called Amoghadrik. What is the meaning of Amoghadrik? Amogha means spotless. Drik means to see, vision. So Brahma is not seeing Krishna, but he is called as Amoghadrik, having a spotless vision. Why? Because he took the instruction to be non-different from the Lord. As good as the Lord. Similarly, when we chant Hare Krishna, we have heard several times that the Mahamantra is non-different from Krishna. But we don't call the Mahamantra as if we are addressing a person, that we forget always. We generally chant it little carelessly and inattentively. But actually when we chant with full faith, then the Mahamantra carries very great potency. Like Surdas used to come to take darshan of the deities, of Krishna always. But his eyes are blind. So one day the Lord was dressed beautifully in flower dress like we do on Pushabhishek. So somebody asked Surdas, you are coming to temple to take darshan of Krishna, what do you get to see? You don't have the eyes to see, then what is the need of coming to temple? Just stay at home. So he said, I am not coming to see the Lord, but Lord always can put his Karunya Kataksha on me. Because I need his glance on me. Like a baby needs the glance of the mother for the baby's nourishment and protection. Is it not? Similarly, we need the Lord is actual drishta. We are only drishya. We are drishya and Lord is drishta. Drishta means the seer is Lord and we are seen. So I am coming to see. And like that Surda said. And that person couldn't say anything. But then the person was watching. After some time, Surdas was telling the Lord, my dear Lord, you are so beautifully decorated in flower dress today. How wonderful you look. He said, and the man was amazed. How did he know that Lord is dressed in flower dress? Because although he did not have external eyes to see, in his chitta the Lord gave him darshan of his beautiful form. In this way, although apparently externally blind, the Lord gave him the vision to see. You see? Similarly, Brahma also did not see Lord with naked eyes, but the Lord gave him instruction tapa, and he accepted it, and he followed the instruction. So in spiritual life, more than Vapu, the Vani is most important. Our real connection is only Vani connection, which is imperishable. Vapu is perishable. Vani is imperishable. Etu dharma mritamidam yatoktam paryupasate shraddha dhana mat parama ye bhaktaste ativa me priyaha. Last verse of 12th chapter. Krishna is telling, Yetu dharma amritamidam. It's an imperishable dharma, this Bhakti Yoga. Similarly, the sound vibration, the spiritual sound vibration is imperishable. And when it is accepted, Vani is accepted. Actually, Vani is more important than Vapu, because the Vapu of the spiritual master will not last all the time. Like we saw Prabhupada, none of us have seen Prabhupada, but we are learning from Prabhupada's Vani, learning from, this is a recorded sound, in the form of a purport. By reading it, understanding it, and enlightening ourselves. Similarly, our spiritual master is a living spiritual master's association we get, but we may not get always. Like now, he travels to America for sometimes 7 months, 8 months. Similarly, every disciple cannot be with the Guru all the time. But one should take the Vani of the Guru very seriously. Generally, we have seen neophyte disciple means, like in our Pune temple we have seen also, when Guru comes, all the disciples will come running. Big crowd of disciples will come. And some of the Brahmin disciples who didn't come to temple last 6 months, 8 months, when Guru comes, he'll be on the altar, our disciples. They'll be doing Aarti for the Lord and saying, Guru is watching me or not. Like this. Guru Maharaj will class there. Guru Maharaj will see that I am doing seva. So they want to show that I am doing seva when? In front of Guru only. And then some fellows will come and Guru Puja and dance. Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev. They become too ecstatic. Only when Guru comes. When Guru is not there, no connection. Guru is far away. He comes once in a year or whatever. No enthusiasm in spiritual life at all. Dull, very, very dull. They'll be contemplating on sense gratification. You see? That is because this clearly shows the neophyte nature. Neophyte nature means Vapu is all important. They will keep photos, they will keep in the computer, they will say that they will become too sentimental. Guruji, Guru Maharaj touched my head, Guru Maharaj patted on my back. Actually, sometimes Guru Maharaj is walking, suddenly his body hits your body, accidentally, not intentionally. Still people think I got mercy, Guru hit me, this kind of things. But if you ask them to follow instruction, they won't follow. That is a bogus disciple, you see. A real disciple is one who accepts Guru's instruction, Vani, and he applies in his life. For him, Guru is however gone, no difference. Guru may be present in the planet, Guru is not present in the planet, but Guru's instructions are all important. He knows Guru always lives eternally. Guru, even after Guru goes to the spiritual world, he is watching from there how my disciple is following my instruction. You see? To feel the presence of the spiritual master in his physical absence and to strictly stick to his instructions given by him with great love and devotion and faith in him is a sign of maturity in spiritual life. So there is a Bahirmukha Shishya, Antarmukha Shishya, you see. Antarmukha Shishya actually means he follows the Vani. Brahma was like that. One has to receive the transcendental sound from the right source. Accept it as a reality and prosecute the direction without hesitation. 3 things he says solidly. One has to receive the spiritual sound from the right source. It's very important. You see, if somebody is teaching you Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, they should be able to represent the parampara very purely. Representing parampara purely means teach you what the acharyas have taught, and not just bluff something, not give some entertainment and go away, or speak something, like sometimes in the name of giving lecture, people talk so many modern day things without giving what Prabhupada has said, acharyas have said. It's very important that we don't dilute the knowledge that we give. That is one reason I read some section of purport and I elaborate. This is very safe to do. Because you say what Prabhupada says and then you elaborate on it. You just help people to understand what Prabhupada says. That's all. You don't have to do anything more. But if you are not doing that, if you are bluffing, then you will see Krishna consciousness will become choked, stunted. That will not be flourishing. It will just get choked. It will not flourish. That's why he's saying, one should receive the transcendental sound from right source. And then he's saying, accept it as a reality. You should have full faith when you hear this knowledge. Like we are talking about Brahmaji sitting on the lotus seat, searching for Vishnu, and then coming back and sitting. One may think, are these things stories? Are these things reality? Is it mythological? Are such things really do exist? Is there a transcendental lotus and a stem and 14 planetary systems within it? And Garudhaksha Vishnu below. So this certainly requires some faith. You can acquire knowledge, but you have to have faith in the knowledge if you have to make progress. And what is the proof that you have faith? If you don't have faith, eventually you will become more fascinated by material energy. I have seen boys, when they are living in boys, they will be like very simple fellows, wearing half shirt, a simple pant and going to college. They don't have much money also, parents are sending money. But once they get job and money goes into pocket and there are girls working in the same project, they raise their collar and they think they are king of the world. They become very stylish, and bike comes, of course car also will come eventually, isn't it? You can ask, Deeprakash Prabhu can tell you, how once people join company, how the attitude, mentality changes, isn't it? Isn't it? People change, correct? There is a big, people think now I have become a real adult now. No. And then they become too impressed by material energy. And they think, what is this voice? Our people are too simple, they don't know the world outside. Now I am more mature, now I know. Yeah, they become impressed by women, they become impressed by money, they become impressed by the glamour, glitter and glamour of material energy. They think they are smart. It's actually the other way. They simply become fooled by material energy. You see? That's why he's saying here, one should accept the spiritual knowledge given by the Lord as a reality and prosecute the direction without hesitation. 3 things. What is he saying? Hear knowledge from the right source, accept it as a reality, and prosecute the direction without hesitation. Why hesitation comes? Because faith is not there. Why boys are saying, Prabhuji, I am surfing internet pornography, Prabhuji, I am feeling too much disturbance, this problem, that problem. Why? Problem is there because we have no faith. If you have faith, this is it, this is the knowledge. Faith in Guru, faith in Prabhupada, faith in Parampara, and also coming every day in contact with Sat. We have to come in contact with spiritual sound vibration every day. That's very important. And we need spiritual instructions to purify our heart. If somebody says, I have no time to read and chant, I have no time to complete my sadhana and everything, then what happens? Then one gets weak. Without taking grains, one becomes weak. The secret of success is to receive the sound from the right source of a bona fide spiritual master. Mundane manufactured sound has no potency, and as such seemingly transcendental sound received from an unauthorized person has also no potency. One should be qualified enough to discern such transcendental potency, and either by discriminating or by fortunate chance, if one is able to receive the transcendental sound from the bona fide Guru, his path of liberation is guaranteed. The disciple, however, must be ready to execute the order of a bona fide spiritual master, as Lord Brahma executed the instructions of his spiritual master, who is the Lord himself. Following the order of the bona fide Guru is the only duty of the disciple, and this completely faithful execution of the order of the bona fide Guru is the secret of success. So Prabhupada is saying here that there is a transcendental sound and seemingly transcendental sound. 2 things he is saying. Like there are so many people speaking Katha, Ramayana, Mahabharata. Sometimes some people will speak a lot of Prajalpa and in between put a shloka, so it looks like divine. Put some little shloka also, say some words, Krishna, Indra, Brahma, something you say, it looks spiritual. But the way in which the lecture is going is mostly Prajalpa. You understand, no? It can happen even amongst devotees. If devotees are not careful. If devotees are not properly studying Prabhupada books and understanding and applying and speaking, even devotees can do Prajalpa. For example, somebody is giving a lecture, he is talking about America, he is asking about Australia, he is talking about Ayurveda, he is talking about Sanskrit, he is talking about management, he is talking about some jokes he heard from Kushwant Singh. He will be saying, people, you can sit in a Vyasasana and bluff for 1 hour and get off, and nobody will benefit by such a class. One should actually, the purpose of Bhagavatam class is to transform the hearts of the people. Yeah.
Unless we have higher thing, we cannot understand this is lower thing. I had a connection with other parampara. I had a connection with other parampara. So they were telling their philosophy.
Yeah.
And when I had this philosophy, then I understood this is highest and this is little bit.
Correct. So all we can do is to be sincere. Prabhupada says, if you want to cheat, you get a cheating guru. If you want to attain Krishna, then you get a guru who will take you to Krishna. Is it not true? So for example, even all of us, before coming to Krishna consciousness, we had so many Kula Guru and so many others and all. We have been going, but none of them actually gave Krishna, you see. And then probably some sincerity was there, so naturally we were brought to Prabhupada's lotus feet, eventually. isn't it? So, and even within ISKCON also, when we are hearing also, we should hear such a sound vibration which will bring about a change of heart and which will intensify our spiritual life. It's very important. That's one reason in our early 5 years of your training, we have guided hearing. Like you hear Srila Prabhupada, you hear Maharaj Maharaj, and you hear my lectures. Why we are keeping it restricted to this? Somebody can ask, Prabhuji, can't we hear any lecture? I like this lecture, I like that lecture. Actually, everybody is speaking for a different audience. They all are cultivating audience, and everybody has a different style of training also. Is it not true? Different people, and different people emphasis on different things. Like, some devotee may say, even if you don't study your college books, no problem. Krishna consciousness is all important. Or even if you shave up in your second year and join temple, no problem, they may say. But we don't say that. You understand, no? That is why if you are taking training in a particular system, first 3 to 5 years, in your formative years, you have to hear on a regular basis and uplift our consciousness and bring us to a certain level, certain platform. After 5 years, then you can hear from many speakers, because you will know that you are in a particular track and you will take help from different, multiple inspiration can be there, but accountability is to one, isn't it? Ultimately, we should be accountable to Prabhupada, our spiritual master, and the superiors under whom we are working. So, Prabhupada is saying, nowadays you see there are so many kathakars. You go to Vrindavan, Bhagavat, Jnana Yajna and all they put. They are Mayavadis actually. They speak against Krishna. They kill Krishna actually. And Vrindavan, although they are giving a katha in Vrindavan, there are many organizations nowadays. One should not get cheated by them. Like the Prabhupada is saying. And then Prabhupada is saying, Lord Brahma controlled 2 grades of senses by means of sense perception and sense organs, because he had to engage such senses in the execution of order of the Lord. Therefore, controlling the senses means engaging them in the transcendental service of the Lord. The Lord's order descends in disciplic succession through bona fide Guru. And thus execution of the order of the bona fide Guru is factual control of the senses. Actually, you don't have to separately control the senses. If you are strictly following Guru's instruction, you will see every one of us, we are given a Guru, and if you hear the Guru exactly and do what he says, and you don't do what he tells you not to do, then senses automatically come under control. Those boys who say, I'm unable to, like one boy was saying, Prabhuji, in our voice there is Sky-Fi. What do you call it, Sky-Fi? Wi-Fi. That's correct. Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi means it's there in the ether only, correct? You can connect to yourself. You don't need this thing, is it? You don't need a card for that. Wi-Fi in his college. I don't want to name the voice. So he was telling that, Prabhuji, ever since that came, I have become completely degraded. Without anyone's knowledge, I bolt the room door and I keep on accessing this. So I said, that means you don't have faith in your spiritual master. You are not following his instruction. How many times you have heard this? You should not do it. No, Prabhuji, if temptations are there, I succumb, otherwise I don't, he said. And Prabhupada said, if you don't have determination, you are an animal, Prabhupada said once, to follow the instructions given. Then you are, instead of walking on 4 legs, you walk on 2 legs. That's the only difference, you see. That means our sense gratification is so important for us, we don't follow Guru's instruction. Or in other words, we are not serious about going back to Godhead. We are indirectly telling Krishna, I have not yet got sufficient kicks from Maya. Please send me to Maya for more kicks. That's what we are saying actually. Is it not true? So, that is why Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchite. Automatically senses will be controlled if you follow the order of Guru. Yeah. Such execution of penance in full faith and sincerity made Brahmaji so powerful that he became the creator of the universe. And because he was able to attain such power, he is called the best among all tapasvis. That is saying. Then he is saying, the personality of Godhead, being thus very much satisfied with the penance of Lord Brahma, was pleased to manifest his personal abode, Vaikuntha. Now Lord is giving him darshan of Vaikuntha now. The supreme planet above all others. This transcendental abode of the Lord is adored by all self-realized persons, freed from all kinds of miseries and fear of illusory existence. So in this way, the Lord showed him the spiritual world. In that personal abode, what did he see? Brahma. In that personal abode of the Lord, the material modes of ignorance and passion do not prevail, nor is there any of their influence in goodness. There is no predominance of the influence of time. So what to speak of the illusory external Maya Shakti? It cannot enter that region. Without discrimination, both the demigods and demons worship the Lord as devotees. In spiritual world, even the demons also worship the Lord. Like somebody was telling, in the material world the demons are opposed to the Lord's plan. But in the spiritual world there is nobody who is opposed to His plan. Everybody is aligned with Him. In this way, He gave him a darshan of the spiritual creation. The inhabitants of the Vaikuntha planets are described as having a glowing sky bluish complexion. Their eyes resemble lotus flowers. Their dress is of yellowish color. And their bodily features are very attractive. They are just the age of growing youths. Just like all of your age, this age group. Like you. They all have 4 hands. And they are all nicely decorated with pearl necklaces, with ornamental medallions, and they all appear to be effulgent. Some of them are effulgent like coral and diamonds in complexion, and have garlands on their heads, blooming like lotus flowers, and some wear earrings also, some of them. The Vaikuntha planets are also surrounded by various airplanes, all glowing and brilliantly situated. These airplanes belong to the great Mahatmas or devotees of the Lord. The ladies are as beautiful as lightning because of their celestial complexions, and all these combined together appear just like the sky decorated with both clouds and lightning. So who looks like clouds? Vishnudutas. And who looks like lightning? Ladies in Vaikuntha. So they're like clouds and lightning. He's saying. Yeah. 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 The goddess of fortune Lakshmi in her transcendental form is engaged in the loving service of Lord's lotus feet, and being moved by the black bees, she is not only engaged in variegated pleasure, service to the Lord, along with her constant companions, but is also engaged in singing the glories of Lord's activities. Lakshmi is singing also, and all instruments like Veena are played, and the glories of, and she is doing seva also. So when Brahma saw all these things, Lord Brahma saw in the Vaikuntha planets the personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of the entire devotee community, the Lord of the goddess of fortune, the Lord of all sacrifices, and the Lord of the universe, and who is served by the foremost servitors like Nanda, Sunanda, Prabala, Arhana, his immediate associates. And the Lord is leaning favorably towards his loving servitors. His very sight is very intoxicating and attractive. Lord appeared to be very satisfied. He had a smiling face, decorated with an enchanting reddish hue. He was dressed in yellow robes and wore earrings and a mukut on his head. He had 4 hands, and chest was marked with Srivatsa Chinha. All this he saw, Brahma. Then he goes on explaining many things. So Lord Brahma, thus seeing the personality of Godhead in his fullness, was overwhelmed with joy within his heart. And thus in full transcendental love and ecstasy, his eyes filled with tears of love, he thus bowed down before the Lord. That is the way of the highest perfection for the living being, Paramahamsa. In this way, Brahmaji became a Paramahamsa. Paramahamsa actually doesn't become by rubber stamp. Somebody is called as a, in India very common, Paramahamsa, Yogananda, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and all people call. But who has given them the title? Lord should give you the title Paramahamsa. One cannot, we have Mahatma Gandhi, Mahatma Dubey, Mahatma Phule. Isn't it? People give Mahatma. And we have to hear from Krishna who is Mahatma and who is Paramahamsa. This is Paramahamsa. That you hear the instruction of the Lord, apply it in your life, and then perform tapasya, control your senses completely, withdraw your senses from worldly engagements like a tortoise withdrawing itself inside. Not the tortoise is withdrawing and going to sleep. The tortoise is progressing also. You've seen that? Tortoise, what it does, it looks here and there. When there are no enemies, then it progresses. Moves slowly. After going some time, enemies are coming, withdraw everything inside. show the back. And the enemy goes away. After some time it looks, then it makes progress. So devotee should make progress in spiritual life using the senses, and when dangers come, should withdraw oneself. You see? So, in this way, as Brahma did, if somebody does, then one becomes Paramahamsa. You see? In this way, Brahma had tears in his eyes because of seeing all this wonderful darshan. And seeing Brahma present before him, the Lord accepted him as worthy to create living beings, to be controlled as he desired. And thus, being much satisfied with him, the Lord shook hands with Brahma and slightly smiling addressed him. Says. The Prabhupada says in the purport. Lord Brahma has a great responsibility in delivering the conditioned souls, and therefore he is very dear to the Lord. Brahma also does his duty very perfectly, not only by generating living entities, but also by spreading his party for reclaiming the fallen souls. Prabhupada is saying. What is this Brahma spreading his party for reclaiming the fallen souls? Who is Brahma's party? We all are Brahma's party. You don't know? Because we are which parampara? Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya. I will again read the sentence, hear it. Brahma also does his duty very perfectly, not only by generating living entities, but also by spreading his party for reclaiming the fallen souls. Yeah. So, like voice is the extension of ISKCON, and ISKCON is the extension of Gaudiya Math and Gaudiya Sampradaya, and which is coming in Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya. So all of us are Brahma's party. For what purpose? For spreading Krishna consciousness and reclaiming fallen souls back to spiritual abode. And we should have that vision. We have not come here to just take a room and cook prasad, take prasad, and just chant and dance and go to sleep and then take a job and push off. We are here for what? Yeah. He's saying, by spreading his party, for reclaiming the fallen souls. That is the vision Prabhupada gives for all people. The party is called Brahma Sampradaya, Prabhupada is saying. And any member of this party, to date, is naturally engaged in reclaiming the fallen souls back to Godhead, back home. The Lord is very much anxious to get back his parts and parcels, as said in Bhagavad Gita. No one is more dear than the one who takes the task of reclaiming fallen souls back to Godhead. Yeah. There are many renegades from Brahma Sampradaya. Renegades means deviants. Whose only business is to make men more forgetful of the Lord and thus entangle them more and more in material existence. Such persons are never dear to Lord. And the Lord sends them to deeper, darkest region of matter, so that such envious demons may not be able to know the Supreme Lord. Anyone, however, preaching the mission of the Lord in the line of Brahma Sampradaya is always dear to the Lord. And the Lord, being satisfied with such a preacher of authorized bhakti cult, shakes hands with him in great satisfaction. You see? So Lord shakes. So every one of us, when we become perfect, we will get a handshake from Krishna. Well done. Now you have completed your term in material world now. Now you got promotion to spiritual world now. You have chanted 16 rounds, following 4 regs, and you have preached and brought so many people. Now you enter into spiritual world. With a handshake, Lord will send you inside. So, in this way, the first thing that the Lord gave Brahma was what? Spiritual revelation. Vaikuntha he gave him. And here we secondly see what he gave him is appreciation. And congratulation and appreciation. Isn't it? Shaking hands. Well done. Like all of us, when we do tapasya, we want to get some good results. Actually, you will see, by remaining a devotee loyally, gradually our sattva pradhan will increase in us. Eating sattvic prasad, pure prasad, living a pure sattvic lifestyle, gradually our mind will become peaceful and be freed from shoka, moha, bhaya and all that. Lamentation, illusion and fear and all those things. one will become very stably situated in Krishna consciousness. So Lord gave spiritual revelation, then He gave him appreciation by shaking hands. One more thing, as we said, Lord accepted him as a worthy person to create living beings and to become His representative, which means He gave him a responsible position, isn't it? Because Lord, actually, you see, we all have free will, and to the degree we misuse the free will, we are acting against the interests of the Lord. Is it not true? Like, for example, you are sending a plane and through a radar you are watching how the plane is going. But the plane can also be autopiloted from the control station. Is it not true? So the pure devotees are like people who have autopiloted the plane. Autopilot means the plane has no freedom. The plane has given up the freedom to the control room from ground. So pure devotees, they have handed over the free will to Krishna, like Prahalad and others. Take it, Krishna. Now you control me completely. So that is why every movement of a pure devotee is what? Is orchestration of Krishna. Parikshit is putting snake around the neck of Samik Rishi. It's an orchestration of Krishna actually. You see? Everything a pure devotee does. And materialistic living entity, what he does, he completely wants to be independent. He's like a plane going above a valley and falling and crashing down. And we are crashing down in millions of times in this world. How? Take birth, crash down. Again take another birth, crash down. Millions of times like that. But the Lord sees that somebody has become like Brahma here. He is performing tapasya, he is controlling senses, he is fully engaging in devotion service. At one point of time, Lord develops faith and gives that devotee a responsible position. Like we are making somebody a preaching coordinator, somebody a internal manager, somebody a OC, somebody a project manager, somebody a project advisor. So these are all responsible positions. And they are given due to trust. Somebody has shown sincere surrender. Based on that, we give them a position. And of course, when position is given, one may misuse the position also. Possibility is there. That question Brahma will ask later. My dear Lord, you are putting me in this important position. But in the course of my creation, I may create some demoniac living entities, by whose association I may also become degraded. Similarly, for example, if you are given a position, sometimes you like somebody is a front line, somebody is a facilitator, you go to hostel, degraded boys, you try to bring them to Krishna consciousness. Somebody is watching a dirty movie, somebody has put posters in his room, you have to see all that. Is it not? So in the course of our rendering service, Brahma also had a fear that I may become polluted. How will I be saved? And he asked the Lord a very brilliant question. Please tell me, how do you create the material world yet not become entangled? Similarly, tell me how I can do the service of procreation and not yet become entangled. I want to follow your footsteps. Like that he asked the question. And then the Lord told them, and that is very easy for you, that while doing your service you should never forget my instruction. You should keep it always. If you do your services in remembrance of me, Lord said you will never fall prey to illusion. And the worldly degradation will never touch you. The worldly contamination will never touch you, the Lord tells him. So 3 things I told you Lord gave. What are they? Spiritual revelation, appreciation, responsible position. And the 4th thing, now the Lord told him, now Brahma, ask for any benediction you want. I am ready to give you. Because you have performed penance for me, I am very happy with you and I want to give you some gift. What do you want? The beautiful personality of Godhead addressed Lord Brahma. Oh Brahma, I am very much pleased with your long accumulated penance, with the desire for creation. Hardly am I pleased with pseudo-mystics. See, Chiram Bhritena Tapasa Tustoshaha Kuta Yogina. He's saying Kuta Yogi means, those like Prabhupada says, Kuta Yogina means pseudo-mystics. There are so many people who want to do mystic yogic exercises and all for gratifying their own senses. Or they are giving some ashes, they are giving gold. Lord says, such Kuta Yogis cannot attract me. Dustoshaha, he says, I am not satisfied with Kuta Yogis. But chiram vritena tapasa. But by your tapasya, I am very satisfied because your Veda Garbha Sisrikshaya is saying. For creating, you are actually, you are impregnated with the Vedas, which means the knowledge which I gave you, you have absorbed it and you have applied it. So I am very pleased with you, he is saying. And Prabhupada is saying there are two kinds of penance. One for sense gratification and other for self-realization. Like Hiranyakashipu did penance for? Yeah. And our Brahma did penance for self-realization and realizing the Lord. And Dhruva Maharaj did tapasya for? Initially for sense gratification, but he became purified. And then he became purified and became a pure devotee eventually. In this way, then he's saying, I wish you good luck. Varam varaya bhadram te varesham abhivanchitam, he's saying. Oh Brahma, you may ask from me, the giver of benediction, all that you may desire, he's saying. Now anything you can ask me. You want 8 mystic powers? Are you... What more can you ask? You are Brahma actually. You are, Brahma is the first created living being. The master of the whole universe. And the Lord is saying, you may know that the ultimate benediction as a result of all penances is to see me by realization. Which means Lord is telling him, I have given you a chance to ask for benediction, but don't end up asking some nonsense things, Because the best benediction you can ask is what? To see me by realization, which you already done. Only probably you haven't realized it. You may not know it. Like many of us, when we come to Krishna consciousness, we may not know. But over the years of maturity, you will know, this is the best gift I got in my life. Krishna consciousness itself. So Lord is telling, the highest perfectional ingenuity is the personal perception of my abodes. And this has been possible because of your submissive attitude in the performance of severe penance according to my order. He's saying. Yeah. O sinless Brahma, you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance when you are perplexed in your duty. Such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are non-different. Now the Lord is saying, who gave the sound tapa tapa? 2 times? Lord only. Now he is telling, you heard the sound, you remember? I only made the sound, he is saying. I only gave you the instruction to do tapasya. One cannot enjoy material illusory prosperity if he desires to return home back to Godhead. Prabhupada is saying. One who has no information of the transcendental bliss in the association of Lord foolishly desires to enjoy this temporary material happiness. So, Prabhupada is here talking about how the penance will give unlimited happiness by the Antaranga Shakti. One can get unlimited bliss, he is saying. And then Lord is saying, I create this cosmos by such penance. I maintain it by the same energy and I withdraw it all by the same energy. Therefore the potential power is penance only. And the Lord Brahma is telling now, oh, Personality of Godhead, you are situated in every living entity's heart as a Supreme Director. And therefore you are aware of all our endeavors by your superior intelligence without any hindrance whatsoever. In spite of that, my Lord, I am praying to you to kindly fulfill my desire. May I please be informed how in spite of your transcendental form, you assume the mundane form although you have no such form at all. And what is that mundane form? Virat Purusha. Form which Lord assumes for the whole universe. And please inform me how you, by your own self, manifest different energies for annihilation, generation, acceptance and maintenance by combination and permutation. Please tell me philosophically all about them. You play like a spider that covers itself by its own energy and your determination is infallible. Please tell me so that I may be taught in the matter by the instruction of the Personality of Godhead and may thus act instrumentally to generate living entities without being conditioned by such activities. You see? He's saying, oh my Lord, you have shaken hands with me just as a friend does with a friend, as if equal in position. I shall be engaged in the creation of different types of living entities and I shall be occupied in your service. I shall have no perturbation But I pray that all this may not give rise to pride, as if I were the Supreme. It's a very important verse it is. This verse is 2, 9, 30. See, sometimes the spiritual master puts a disciple in a very big position. Like say, Gopalakrishna Maharaj and Radhanath Maharaj, they have put me as a president of Pune. And when they come to Pune, I will ask them, what type of program should I arrange for you? They will say, whatever program you arrange, we will do. We are your servants. We are just coming here. Maharaj, where will you stay? Wherever you put us, we will stay. Maharaj, you want how many programs a day? You decide. So they give me full freedom. Maharaj, how to run the temple? You decide. And if I have any clarifications or doubts, I can ask them. So, the kind of empowerment they have given me and freedom they have given me in running Pune, it is practically limitless. But how GBC or gurus may give that type of freedom when the trust level develops? Is it not true? When the trust builds more and more in the disciple, then they may give more and more freedom also like that. But we should never misuse the freedom. Just because we are given position, prestige, power, free will, money, manpower, money power resources and everything, one should not misuse it, and one shouldn't become proud that I am independent now. That's what happened with Indra. He thought he is independent and he fell down. Later on, Lord lifted the Govardhan hill, performed the pastime. So, and also, Lord is treating him on an equal platform by shaking hands. That's why here Prabhupada is saying, Lord Brahma is definitely situated in the humor of friendship with the Lord. Every living entity is eternally related with the Lord, as Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, and things like that. And then Prabhupada is saying here, a pure devotee may be related with the Lord in any one of the transcendental humors, even the humor of parenthood, but the devotee of the Lord is always transcendental servitor. No one is equal or greater than the Lord. Brahmaji, although eternally related with the Lord in humor of friendship, although entrusted with the most exalted post of creating different grades of living entities, he is still conscious of his position, that he is neither the Supreme Lord nor supremely powerful. It is possible that some extremely powerful personality within or without the universe may sometimes show more power than the Lord himself. And then Prabhupada gives example. Such delegated, powerful living entity is never independent. Shri Hanumanji crossed the Indian Ocean by jumping over the sea, and Lord Ramachandra engaged himself in marching over the bridge. But this does not mean that Hanumanji was more powerful than the Lord. Sometimes the Lord gives extraordinary powers to his devotee, but the devotee knows always that the power belongs to the Supreme Lord, and that the devotee is only an instrument. The pure devotee is never puffed up like the non-devotee class of men who falsely think that they are God. It is astonishing to see how a person who is being kicked by the laws of Maya Shakti at every step can falsely think of becoming one with Lord. So both becoming the most powerful man in the material world and desiring to become one with the Lord are different illusory snares, he's saying. So, you know this now? जिस सागर को बिना सेतु के फांद सके नहीं राम, कूद गए हनुमान उसी में लेके राम का नाम. You heard this? So Hanuman राम के नाम लेते हुए इसमें समुद्र में कूद गए. He could cross over the ocean. But Ram himself needed what? Setubandha to go. Does it make Ram inferior? No. By empowerment of Ram only Hanuman is able to do such things. Similarly, Prabhupada asked people, Lord Chaitanya preached only in India, but I preached all over the world. How? Why he didn't preach all over the world? Nobody could answer. Prabhupada said, because that work Lord wanted to leave it to me. He left it to me. So because Lord likes to glorify his devotees, to have done something more than himself also. Like Ramananda Rai is glorified by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as giving the Rasa Tattva. Although Mahaprabhu is only empowering his tongue, still the Lord wants to give credit to his devotee. He doesn't want to take credit himself, you see. Krishna can take his Sudarshan Chakra and finish the whole Mahabharat war. But he's giving credit to whom? Arjuna. Like that Brahma is telling, my dear Lord, you are giving me this credit. And then, now the Lord is speaking to him. After this verse, Jnanam paramaguhyam me yad vijnana samanvitam Sarahasyam tadangam cha grihana gaditam maya. What we read today. Lord is saying, knowledge about me is very confidential. And you have to realize it along with devotional service. And if you do it, then what will happen? My name, my actual form, my transcendental existence, color, qualities, activities, let them all be awakened within you by factual realization out of my costless mercy. Lord is saying, Brahma, don't worry, name, form, qualities, pastime, activities of mine will awaken in your heart. And with this mercy, the whole purport writes about the mercy of the Lord. And then Lord is giving him the Chatushloki Bhagavat after that, which Brahmaji expanded into the Bhagavatam fully. He took the 4 slokas and expanded into the whole Bhagavatam. So in this way, Brahma got spiritual revelation, responsible position, appreciation and benediction. So these are the 4 benefits of austerities. So we are also doing tapasya every morning, rising, chanting Hare Krishna, following the 4 regulative principles, restraining the senses, and studying the spiritual literature. Very similar type in our own capacity we are doing. So Lord will give these things in everybody's life. We will get appreciation, we will get responsible position. What is the first one I said? Revelation, yeah. Spiritual revelation will come also. Even now it's coming, but in a smaller degree. To the degree we surrender more, it will come more. And the revelation will be more and more. What is the proof? Spiritual revelation is coming. One will give up material enjoyment. He will cast it away like a sukha roti. Throw it away. And one can delight in Krishna consciousness. You see? One will develop more and more taste for hearing about the Lord, associating with devotees, intensifying devotional service. One will become greedy for Krishna consciousness. So this is a very beautiful section, very important for devotees, because this also talks about responsible position when we take, how we should, in our email lecture or Mala lecture I will speak more on Brahma's prayer to Krishna and how Krishna teaches him how to not fall prey to illusion. That little elaborates another section. That prayer is wonderful. It's coming later in one of the pralayas are over, and then pralaya is over, Brahma is waking up next morning. That time he want to recreate. That time he is offering that prayer. Very beautiful prayer. And Lord is also answering him. How to... 4 questions Brahma asks, and Lord is also giving him answer to those 4 questions. But this section I wanted to highlight on the 4 fruits of austerities. Because sometimes boys wonder, every morning we have to get up, we have to chant, we have to dance, we have to hear class every morning. Prabhuji, how long will this go on? People sometimes wonder. So, but if you know the 4 fruits of austerities, you will get encouragement. Oh, really? Some day will come when you will get a handshake from Krishna. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, isn't it? Well done. Now it's finished. Now, no more material. Prabhupada said, no more material world, no more material body, no more misery. He said. Then Vaikuntha airplane will be waiting outside. Can board. Just like our Tukaram went. Like that. And we will have spiritual body after that. So, all these things are very beautifully explained in the principle is the same, whether it is Brahma or whether it is our life, spiritual life. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Thank you very much.